This video demonstrates the difference between selection of criteria versus aggregation of criteria. To demonstrate this, I'm going to start where the video cohort based on relatives left off. In that video, we searched for patients with chronic pulmonary heart disease that had children with a low birth weight. This time, rather than selecting a low birth weight, I'll aggregate by birth weight so that I can view all birth weights at the same time. Also, I probably wouldn't be interested in low birth weights that occurred with twins or triplets, so I'm going to add a second criteria to these children in the birth details where it had to be a single birth, no twins or 2+. We'll add that criteria, select and run, and again we can group by diagnosis. And so here we can see there's 222 records, or 201 mothers, that had chronic pulmonary heart disease and had a single birth with a low birth weight. If we want to examine all birth weights, we need to start with the children. But let's take a copy of this so we can come back and view it momentarily. We'll go to Paint, and I'll just paste those results right there for later reference. Now, let's start a new query. This time, instead of starting with the mother, we'll start with the child. We'll go to Birth Details and select that the birth certificate had to specify a single birth, and that this patient who was on a birth certificate with a single birth had a mother, and that that mother had a diagnosis in the Utah Inpatient Claims of ICD-416, which was chronic pulmonary heart disease. We'll select and run this, and this time we're going to group by birth details, birth weight. Let's run this query. Don't be surprised if this query takes a minute or two to run. I paused the video so we wouldn't have to wait. But here you can see that our results have been grouped by birth weight. We have average birth weight, high birth weight, low birth weight, and very low birth weight. Now I'm going to switch to the Paint application so that we can view the previous screen. We can see that we grouped them here by diagnoses. This is where we selected records where a birth certificate indicated a low birth weight. Here we grouped by birth weight and we got to see all the birth weights. In summary, if you wish to restrict your cohort to those individuals possessing a specific characteristic, add that criteria to the selection process. On the other hand, if you wish to examine a characteristic of your cohort, add that criteria to the group by or aggregation process. This concludes this demonstration of selection versus aggregation.